Imagine waking before sunrise, stepping into the streets of the greatest empire on earth, only to discover that before sunset, you could be robbed, sold into slavery, crushed by a collapsing building, or forced to watch men kill each other for entertainment. Ancient Rome is often remembered as a civilization of glory, magnificent temples, and fearless legions. But here's the surprising truth. For millions of ordinary Romans, daily life was far harsher, louder, dirtier, and more unpredictable. So what was it really like to live an ordinary day in the world's most powerful empire? And why does the answer completely change the way we see ancient Rome?
Close your eyes for a moment and imagine the first rays of sunlight creeping over the rooftops of Rome nearly 2,000 years ago. Before the marble monuments glowed under the morning sun, before senators argued inside grand halls, and before emperors made history, the city was already awake. Bakers had been working for hours, their ovens blazing through the night to prepare fresh loaves for thousands of hungry mouths. Donkeys rattled through narrow streets carrying grain. Merchants arranged their stalls, and slaves hurried through crowded alleys, carrying water, food, and expensive goods for wealthy households. Rome never truly slept. It simply changed shifts. At its peak, the city held over 1 million people, making it one of the largest cities the world had ever seen. Yet despite its incredible engineering and wealth, daily survival depended more on your social status than on your talent or ambition. If you were born into a wealthy family, your mornings looked dramatically different from those of a laborer or slave. In elegant villas decorated with colorful mosaics and painted walls, aristocrats awoke in spacious bedrooms, while servants prepared clothing, breakfast, and warm water for washing. Even getting dressed was often impossible without assistance, as fine Roman garments required careful arrangement. Breakfast was usually simple, but the luxury came from having others prepare everything. Wealth gave Romans something few others possessed: time to discuss politics, manage estates, study philosophy, or simply enjoy leisure. Meanwhile, only a few streets away, thousands of ordinary Romans squeezed out of cramped apartments called insulae. These towering apartment buildings could rise 6 or 7 stories high, often built cheaply with wood and poor quality materials. Fires were common. Entire buildings sometimes collapsed without warning. The poorest citizens lived on the highest floors because there were no elevators. Water rarely reached the upper levels, forcing residents to carry heavy buckets up several flights of stairs. The rooms were tiny, dark, and overcrowded. Entire families often shared a single space no larger than a modern bedroom. Privacy barely existed. Outside, the streets exploded with life. Vendors shouted over one another, selling bread, vegetables, fish, wine, clothing, and imported luxuries from every corner of the empire. You could hear blacksmiths hammering metal, teachers shouting lessons, children laughing, dogs barking, and carts struggling over uneven stone roads. The smell was unforgettable. Fresh bread mixed with roasting meat, but also with animal waste, sewage, smoke, and garbage. Although Rome possessed remarkable aqueducts delivering fresh water across vast distances, sanitation was far from perfect. Human waste often flowed through open drains, and many people simply emptied chamber pots directly into the streets. Walking through Rome required constant attention, not only to avoid thieves, but also to avoid whatever might fall from the windows above. Clothing immediately revealed a person's place in society before a single word was spoken. Wealthy male citizens proudly wore the toga, a large and carefully wrapped garment that symbolized Roman citizenship. It looked impressive, but was heavy, uncomfortable, and impractical for physical labor. Most ordinary Romans preferred simpler tunics tied with belts. Women generally wore long dresses called stolas, while slaves wore plain, inexpensive clothing with little distinction. Jewelry, hairstyles, and footwear also reflected wealth. Fashion mattered because appearance communicated status before a single word was spoken. Education, too, depended heavily on social class. Wealthy boys often studied reading, writing, mathematics, literature, rhetoric, and philosophy. Under private tutors, many of whom were educated Greek slaves. Public speaking was especially important because success in Roman politics depended on persuasion. Girls from wealthy families sometimes received excellent educations as well, though society expected most women to focus primarily on managing households. Poor children rarely enjoyed such opportunities. Many began working alongside their parents from an early age, learning practical trades rather than academic subjects. For countless families, survival came before education. Markets formed the heartbeat of every Roman neighborhood. Farmers arrived with baskets overflowing with vegetables, grapes, figs, beans, onions, and herbs. Fishermen displayed fresh catches hauled from nearby rivers in the Mediterranean Sea. Butchers carved pork, beef, and poultry, while shoppers negotiated prices with practiced skill. Imported spices from India, silk from China, glass from Egypt, and olive oil from Spain reminded everyone that Rome ruled an empire stretching across continents. Even ordinary Romans could occasionally purchase products that had traveled thousands of miles. Yet despite this abundance, hunger remained a constant threat for the poor. Grain shortages or rising prices could quickly push families toward starvation. Recognizing this danger, Roman leaders distributed free grain to many citizens, understanding that hungry crowds could become angry crowds. Bread was more than food, it was political stability. Every morning, while emperors planned wars and senators debated the future of the empire, millions of ordinary Romans were simply trying to feed their families. Behind every temple, every road, and every triumph stood ordinary people whose daily lives built one of history's greatest civilizations. The monuments of Rome still stand in ruins today, but the true story of the empire lives on in the millions of ordinary lives that history almost forgot.